I had a strange feeling about him when I first met him. He took her to the dressing room twice. He said he was going to McDonald's. She went with him. I should have told her to stay with me.
Oh no, you're dead. I'm stuck.
The Bible says an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Don't keep him alive, so he can keep getting out. It ends now.
I normally like to write an intro to these videos that attempts to provoke thoughts or feelings, something that reminds us that we are all just human beings guiding each other home. Perhaps it's wrong of me to ever do this, but I guarantee that it's always done with genuine respect. However, this case is extremely difficult to introduce in a manner that could emote you in any greater way than me just stating the facts. This is the truly heartbreaking case of Cherish Perrywinkle. Viewer discretion is advised. I release at least one new Dark Case video every week. Please join our quickly growing family by clicking subscribe now and turning on notifications. Please consider further supporting me on Patreon, linked below. Joining the channel as a member costs just 99p, but helps me and the channel immensely. Our love and respect goes out to everyone that knew and loved Cherish. On Christmas Eve in 2004, Cherish Perrywinkle was born to parents Rayne and Billy in Jacksonville, Florida. The couple were not married and the relationship was somewhat tumultuous. The parents eventually became estranged and engaged in a number of child custody fights over the next years. Father Billy moved to California. On June 21st, 2013, Cherish was now aged 8 and weighed just 67 pounds. She still lived in Jacksonville, Florida with her mother Rayne, Rayne's boyfriend, and her 2 younger sisters. Cherish also had an older half-sister. Cherish was due to spend the summer in California with her father. Rayne was helping Cherish get ready for her vacation on the 21st of June. Together they were doing things like washing her hair, packing her bags, and looking for new outfits for Cherish to wear. Realising that her daughter needed some new clothes, Rayne accompanied Cherish along with her 2 sisters to the Dollar General store located on Edgewood Avenue at around 7:30 that evening. The family walked the 20-minute journey to the store as Rayne did not own a car and she did not drive. At the Dollar General, Rayne and girls tried on a few different items of clothing. Rayne had $100 on her for everything the family wanted to buy. This $100 also had to pay for transportation to the airport the next morning. This meant there was not a lot of money to spend on purchasing new clothes for Cherish to wear on her vacation. Rayne took a few items to the cash register in order to have the cashier check the prices. Cherish wanted to get a new white dress with red hearts on it. However, after coming to the conclusion that she could not pay for it, she decided to put it back on the shelf. Mother Rayne had no idea at this point that there was a man following her around and observing her every action. The clerk at the Dollar General store said that the man questioned whether or not she had returned the clothing. The man then left the shop looking for the family. Rayne was then greeted outside the store by the man. The man began speaking with Rayne and her children. The Dollar General clerk later confirmed that he had seen the man and Rayne conversing in the parking lot for around 15 to 20 minutes. The man introduced himself to Rayne as Don. Don informed Rayne that he was waiting for his wife.
What did he say to you when you walked out the front door of the Dollar General?
If you really want that dress, I'll get it for you.
Did he make any other comments to you about your children?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said, you look like you have your hands full. I have a couple of little ones.
And that they had a gift card for Walmart to the amount of $150. He said that he would be delighted for her to use the card to purchase clothing for the girls. After a short time, whilst they all waited for his wife, Don suggested to Rayne that perhaps it would be easier to meet her at the nearby Walmart rather than waiting outside. Rayne was faced with a decision with higher stakes than she could ever have imagined. At this point, the weather had turned and it had begun to rain. The mother and her children could either walk home in the rain and get wet, or they could get a lift with Don to Walmart to go and purchase some clothes. Rayne at first resisted, but ultimately she decided to go along with Don in his van. The family climbed into Don's vehicle. The exterior of the van was white, the interior was carpeted, and there were shades on the windows. Don took the family to Walmart just as he promised. It was just a 10-minute drive away. On a quest to help buy clothes for the kids and to meet up with Don's wife, unknown to Rayne, Don was hiding many dark secrets that would soon reveal themselves. One of which, he in fact did not have a wife. However, Don maintained the lie that he did have a wife when they arrived at Walmart, telling Rayne that he would wait for his wife in the parking lot of the store. Rayne, along with her 3 daughters, headed inside the Walmart to start their shopping. The mother stayed with her 3 children the entire time they were shopping. The trip was focused mainly on their needs, shopping in the children's area. Apparently tired of waiting outside, Don eventually caught up with them inside the store. Don, by this stage, had managed to gain the confidence of Rayne, to lure the family into his van, to move them further away from home, and now things were set up to escalate further. Don was not interested in buying anything for himself. He did not add any items to the cart, apart from 1 coil of rope. He then began to focus his attention heavily on one member of the family. The family member was 8-year-old Cherish. He chose some shoes for her to wear, but they were women's high heels. Even more unsettling than that was the fact that he took Cherish to the dressing rooms alone on at least 2 separate occasions. However, this shopping trip was about to be cut short. Walmart made the announcement that shortly they would be closing for the night. Don seized an opportunity to put a plan into action to gain further alone time with Cherish. It was getting late. The family hadn't eaten for some time and they were getting hungry. The apparent good Samaritan, Don told Rayne that he would buy McDonald's for them all. This McDonald's was located inside the Walmart store. This led Rayne to feel comfortable enough for Cherish to accompany Don without her supervision. The shop was still busy with plenty of customers milling around finishing their shopping. This was enough to feel safe. After all, Don had been so generous up to this point. Why would that change? 5 minutes passed. Long enough for Don to return with Cherish. Then 10 minutes. 15 minutes. After waiting for 20 minutes, Rayne finally started to get concerned. She had a shopping cart full of clothing, but she didn't have the gift card and there was no sign of Don, Don's mysterious wife, or Cherish anywhere in the store. 11 p.m. came. Walmart was now closing its doors. Rayne then spent 20 minutes searching through the Walmart, the McDonald's and the parking lot. In a heart-crushing realization, there was no trace of Don, Don's van, or Cherish anywhere to be found. Now 11:20 p.m. Rayne dialed 911.
Jackson 911, Robinson.
Hi, I'm at Walmart. I'm in turn, I think I've been taken.
What do you mean?
Taken by a stranger. I can't find her.
And you say you at the Walmart on Lim Turner?
Yes, I am.
Okay, where did you last see her at?
Walmart. I met a man today at Dollar General. He saw that I was struggling to buy them some clothes. He drove us here to buy us some clothes, and the only reason I went with him because he said his wife was going to be here. Because I told him I don't take rides with strangers.
Okay, ma'am.
He said he was going to McDonald's, and he hasn't been there because the store is closed right now. I had a strange feeling about him when I first met him. He took her to the dressing room twice, and I was hoping that she would be okay. And I was looking at the shoes, and I didn't want him to think that I was overly protective, freaking out. But now they're not here, and I find it very odd because he knew that.
Oh, okay, ma'am. What color vehicle does he drive?
It's a white van. I had a bad feeling. I thought, well, I feel like pinching myself because this is too good to be true. So I got to the checkout. He's not here. He isn't here. And I'm hoping he's not her right now because I've had that done to me. It's not fun. She's supposed to go to California in the morning on the plane. And he knows, as I told him this, he knew when the store was closing. I had a bad feeling about him.
Okay, how long have you been looking for you? When was the last time you saw him? How long ago?
About half an hour ago. About
So you've been
10:30.
looking for her for a half an hour?
Yes. There's nobody in the store. And he knew the store was closing. He said he was going to McDonald's. She went with him. I should have told her to stay with me. He wanted her to buy these really tall shoes that were women's shoes, and I told him no. I said they're too high for her. I wouldn't even wear shoes that high. Maybe he was grooming her. I hope to God he doesn't. I hope to God he doesn't her. I don't want him to. I don't want to be one of those parents that are going through this. Oh my gosh.
When police arrived, Rayne attempted to help the police, but Don was almost a complete stranger to her. She had very limited information. She had never met Don before, but she characterised him as an older gentleman with white hair who drove a white van. One of the only pieces of information that she could give is that she had a bad gut feeling about him. She believed that Cherish had been abducted by Don. The local police had had prior dealings with Don. The man was in fact Donald Smith, 61 years old. He was a registered sex offender with offences dating back to the 1970s. He had only been out of jail for 1 month. This known predator now had unsupervised access to Cherish. Police searched through the night. However, they did not make a significant breakthrough in the investigation until the next morning at 9 a.m. Don, shockingly, was still in the local area. As his van drove by, an officer who was assisting with another incident recognised it immediately.
I rolled down my window and I looked back at the citizens and told them I'd be back. I came up on this radio, which is to talk to headquarters, and advised dispatcher that I was behind the vehicle, matching the description as well as the tag on the vehicle.
What happened next?
Turned my lights on just for a brief second just to get in front of traffic, turned my lights back off, and then proceeded behind the vehicle.
Never before seen video of the moments in June 2013 when police captured child killer Donald Smith.
Driver, step out of the vehicle. Face away from us. Keep your hands in the air. Stop.
Don was then stopped by the police and was taken into custody. However, there was no trace of Cherish or the things that Rayne had left in the vehicle. Items such as her younger children's stroller and the things that were purchased at the dollar store, all nowhere to be seen. However, police made one strange and disturbing discovery. Don was wearing the same clothing as the previous day, a black t-shirt and jeans, but the bottom half of his body was completely drenched in water. Police got a tip that Don's van had been parked in the woods and they went to investigate.
Hi, we're calling about a suspicious van over here, a white van. It was parked behind some bushes really deep, and then we heard that it's not there anymore, but we don't know if he dumped anything because we heard a girl just got abducted from Walmart.
Right.
So we're not sure if that's the van, but a white van was pushed all the way to the back of the bushes this morning.
Near some bushes?
Yes, right behind the church.
Police officers searched the area for any signs of water that would explain Don's current state. Police made a horrifying discovery with the assistance of a police dog. Whilst investigating a creek that was located behind the Highlands Baptist Church, the search for Cherish was already over. Her body was found in the water, weighed down by bricks and other debris, positioned under a tree. It was immediately obvious that Cherish had suffered through a terrible ordeal. She was covered in wounds from head to toe. Donald had gagged and bound Cherish before assaulting her without consent. 8-year-old Cherish evidently fought for her life, but she was no match for a fully grown man, weighing more than twice her size.
Have a seat. We'll be with you in a little bit.
Donald Smith is led into an interview room on the morning of his arrest as JSO detectives try to get answers.
What's your name?
Donald Smith.
Donald Smith?
Yes.
Investigators leave Smith in the room. He sits back and closes his eyes. More than an hour later, homicide detectives come back and read Smith his rights.
If you do answer questions, you have the right to stop answering questions at any time and consult a lawyer. You understand that?
The murder suspect had no intention of talking.
This is an investigation of the abduction and murder of a
Cherish Perrywinkle.
Yeah, 8-year-old female. We'd like to ask you questions about it. You want to talk to us?
No.
Okay.
So they take pictures for evidence.
Put your hands on the wall and lift your right foot up.
And book him into jail.
Donald Smith was charged with Cherish's kidnapping, unconsensual assault, and first-degree murder. The evidence was present and obvious. There was video surveillance of Donald leaving Walmart with Cherish. When he was arrested, the blood on his hands was still wet, and there was the witness who observed Donald's van parked close to the spot where Cherish's body was discovered. In addition, there was evidence based on DNA. His DNA was identified both internally and externally on Cherish, as well as her DNA being identified on him. According to prosecution, the events that happened that day are thought to be this. When Donald spotted Rayne out that day with her 3 daughters, he recognised an opportunity. After all, he was a predator with a proven track record. Rayne was alone, under a lot of strain, and was having a hard time managing everything. She was unable to afford the clothing that her children needed. He used the mother's desperate situation to his advantage, and then enticed them to a second location, Walmart. Donald now waited for the perfect opportunity to take Cherish in a manner that would not attract a lot of attention. That is precisely what occurred. When Rayne believed that Donald was buying food for her family, he used this time to get away. Cherish would have been less nervous about entering Donald's vehicle outside of the Walmart. After all, she had already been in the van with her mother and sisters, and that was safe. No struggle was heard by any of the many witnesses that were nearby. Walmart employees' concerns were also not raised. Donald and Cherish would have appeared to be a typical grandfather and granddaughter pairing. In plain and obvious sight, Cherish was kidnapped. Once in the van, she was then bound and gagged. He then carried out the attack. Once Cherish was no longer breathing, she was disposed of in the creek.
Today, a local family feels the love from this community.
It's heartwarming. It's very heartwarming.
Children pray for one of their own.
I love you, Cherish, and I really miss you.
A young life stolen from her family and her friends, stolen from us all.
We kind of felt like we were sisters.
Now, with heavy hearts, we come together to heal.
Every time I turn around, I'm looking for my daughter.
To look for comfort and to remember Cherish.
State Attorney Melissa Nelson said the following: Cherish did not die quickly, and she did not die easily. Medical examiner Valerie Rao shared that Cherish had sustained a plethora of injuries, showing evidence of strangulation, torture, and an unconsensual attack that took place after her abduction. Rao cried as she shared her evidence.
And how is that caused, Dr. Rao?
Blunt trauma.
Will you first tell the jury what you saw when you dissected her throat?
Yes, so what we do is, I'm sorry, I have to take a break. Can I just have like 5 minutes?
You want a 5-minute break? I think we'll all take a break for 10 minutes. Thank you.
Donald refused to speak in court. However, he allegedly told his mother that Cherish had followed him out and got in the van, and he knew that if he was found, he would already be in trouble as a result of his prior convictions. So to him, the next logical step was to silence her. However, during his time in incarceration, Donald repeatedly incriminated himself.
I don't view children objects. I don't view them as objects or partners. All I know is that I snapped. I need a very simple book. Could it have happened the way they said? Yes, it could have. It could have. At the point, I was so psychotic. I was extremely violent. She had to go. I don't care how she had to go. That's my life. Stay right here. You're gonna kill me. It's your fault. I'm gonna die. I was raging. I'm not a violent person. Never be able to work through all this. Never. I'll never be okay. So rather than spend the rest of my life being humiliated by myself, telling all this in my head, I might as well just die with it. Easier to just die with it because I'll probably never get through it anyway. That's what my brain's telling me. It manifests itself in a million different ways. And every year, I would think, well, what am I going to do about it this year? Am I going to just go to my grave, sick, and hiding, and alone? Or am I going to do something about it? I just need to know what the different categories are and what people do and how they think when they're on and how they act. You need to know that. It's deep-seated.
In court, since Donald did not present a defence and he did not call any witnesses, it took the jury less than 15 minutes to find him guilty of kidnapping and the first-degree murder of Cherish. Judge Mallory Cooper cried as she delivered Smith's punishment at the sentencing. She said, "Donald Smith, you have not only forfeited your right to live among us, you have forfeited your right to life at all. May God have mercy on your soul." His actions were described as heinous, atrocious, and cruel.
I'm Cherish Perrywinkle's mother. The Bible says an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Don't keep him alive so he can keep getting out. It ends now. Thank you, everyone, for your support. I couldn't have done it all without you. This is for Cherish and other victims. Other victims out there.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Smith tried to appeal his sentence in April 2021, but his attempt was unsuccessful. What do you think about Mother Rayne's actions in this case? How much blame do you think she holds? And do you think that death was a correct sentence for Donald Smith? Let me know down in the comments. For more dark cases, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Please like the video to boost the signal of this case. Thank you to my Patreon supporters Jason Grouts, Shane Woodward and David James. You can support me on Patreon for just £4 per month or your local equivalent. You can also join a channel as a member for just 99p per month. Any help in my work is greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching, look after yourself, and I'll see you soon.